Just keep your eyes closed, please. As you have been sitting down for a long time, you should be able to see the difference between observing your mind and engaging yourself with the mind. The difference between observing, just being conscious of all your thoughts, your mind, and engaging yourself with your mind. Engaging is to move with the thoughts, act on every thought, or not to act on. And there, again, in an engagement, again there is a difference between conscious engagement and unconscious engagement or involvement. If you are a person always conscious, aware of yourself, and consciously engaging yourself with your thoughts, projections, the taste of it is you never feel sorry in life, no repentance, no misery, no remorse, no grief. If you are unconsciously engaging yourself with your thoughts, that is, as when thoughts come, you are unconsciously acting on it, talking about it. That is where your action and speech become completely compulsive. Compulsive means it looks as though the thoughts start persecuting you. You believe your thoughts, projections, and the moment the thought comes, unconsciously you act on it. If your action is unconscious, if your speech is unconscious, you become so compulsive that you can't stop talking. Or you cannot stop doing something or other. That is where comes your restlessness. Ask yourself a question. Are you able to observe or unconsciously engaging yourself with your thoughts? as you sit down. Being conscious is not a job. If observation becomes a job, you shall be tired of observing. That is why meditation, so-called meditation, becomes tiring, exhausting, because the I assumes the role of a meditator. Being yourself, who you are. And then you see the effortless expansion, awareness here, there, everywhere, is one and the same. If one body, if it is individual, micro jiva, the whole universe, Ishvara. You don't have to imagine an all-expansive existence, but just be a part of it, an effortless part of the all-inclusive existence. Call it Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Satyate. Call it Brahman, Paramatma, unqualified, Nirguna Brahma, or Ishvara, Bhagavaniti. No time you exist apart from it. Just see that, please. Ask yourself the question, are you being conscious, or you are engaging yourself with all your thoughts? And in that level of engagement, are you consciously engaging or unconsciously lost, involved? If you are unconsciously involved, you can't stop your speech as you like, nor can you stop to act. In fact, that idea doesn't come up. Your talking is non-stop. Your activities bring restlessness to you as well as to others. For a conscious, for consciously engaging, you can switch off at any time. Even after physically stopping to talk or act, if you are mentally restless about it, your action was unconscious, like a child is asked not to play with the balloon. Child doesn't play with the balloon, but mentally restless. Eyes are looking at the balloon, miserable, remorseful. The sign of your unconscious activity is you can't stop it. You can't ask yourself to stop it, as you are unconscious. If somebody asks you to stop, you resist. Because your mind is restless unless you act or you speak. Mind is not restless, you are restless. You drive your thoughts crazy. But you say your thoughts are driving you crazy. All because you are not aware of yourself. Go back to the root. To be with the root is to be with Ishvara, all-pervasive. Nantam na madhyam na punastavadim pashyami Vishveshvara Vishwarupa. Lord, I see all your forms in which this body is included. See that, please. Sarangapadakramo-upanishadai Yandiyam samaga Dhyana-avastita tadgatena manasa Shandiyam yogina Isyantam navidusura suragana Tasmai. Just see these points, please. As you study, read, classroom is a different matter. As here you are not thinking. I am doing the thinking. You see the truth of it. It's like when you go and sit down in the kitchen during your lunch time, everybody enjoys. Why? You don't have to cook. The cooked food is already served. Enjoy it. While enjoying that lunch, think, friends, while enjoying that food, or whatever it is, how many of you think about the person who has cooked it immediately in the kitchen itself? You don't think about the persons who have cooked it. One got the vegetable, somebody brought the water, somebody cleaned the vessel, somebody cooked it. Nobody thinks about it. For them to cook, somebody has to organize from the office. Marketing has to be done, money has to be collected, money has to be allocated. You don't remember that person. And the person who is allocating, facilitating, from there you move on. Where from the money comes, somebody is not printing it. There are hundreds of people around the world who are supporting. How do they do that? They have the capacity, intelligence. Who gave it to them? The whole creation is participating. But how many of us remember while eating food, the whole process behind it? While teaching, same thing. As even when you sit down in the kitchen, the food is already served. Cooked food is already served. And not many people understand the importance of it. By listening to a class, cooked ideas are already served. You see it, but you understand how much contemplation has gone behind it. But as you neglect the food also, discuss, oh, this is so much salt, oh, this is like that, just frivolous discussions. Instead of having that gratitude that is on my plate. At the same time, just because it's cooked and given, you are not going to eat the poison, unhealthy food. You know your discrimination is not healthy. Dump it. So when you sit down to listen, that sharpness is needed to discriminate between garbage and reality. Just because it's served, you don't have to take it. Think for yourself, and in case certain ideas are wonderful, look for the source of the idea. The person, the body is not the source of the idea. Body is only speaking it out, like this one. This amplifier amplifies what I say. Amplifier doesn't say. Body does not think. Through the body, somebody speaks. So what is the source of the idea? The self, who I am. And if you want to understand the idea, you must go to the source. If you have to go to the source, where should you go? To my source or your source? Lucky, both happen to be same. The thought, the source in awareness, spoken out at the level of the mouth. The sound reaches your ears. Ears produce the thought. Thought leads you to the source. In the source, we are one and the same. See the beauty, miracle of teaching. Circle is complete. Communication complete. So as you observe, it's so important in a classroom, but sometimes you listen. But the real classroom is the world outside, where you get a chance to experiment upon your knowledge, your thoughts. Please see that. Very regularly, nicely attending the class. But whatever is discussed here, if that doesn't become a part of it, your life, you must know cooking. where the food being served is very nice, but after some time, you cook your own food. When you step out of this place, cooked ideas won't be available. You cook your own ideas. When you step out of the kitchen or a place like that, you are traveling alone, you cook your own food. Understand? That's why it's so important. As you listen, you see it for yourself. God can be God. It makes no difference. Or still Arjuna sees the truth for himself. Krishna, as I told you, Krishna never fought Arjuna's battle. He didn't live his life. Are you getting that point, please? No teacher can live the life of a student. No person can live somebody's life. That is why interfering with somebody's life is so meaningless. You can facilitate like a child. When he's growing up, you can help the child to grow. Study nicely, go to good school, pick up nice ideas. But even after you giving the best, the fellow can be a drug addict, stupid, arrogant, miserable failure. And sometimes you just facilitate a little, and another person who becomes a tremendous success. Because each one lives his life. You don't expect your parents to live your life. You don't expect your teachers to live your life. Much more in the self-knowledge, awareness of yourself. You have to see the truth for yourself. That is why when you sit down in meditation, please, all times, whether it is here, in your room, or outside, you see things for yourself, and especially in a place where you stay with other people. Facilitate other people's meditation. Do not cause agitation to somebody. Of course, if the person is matured, you can't cause any agitation. That's nonsense. Because nobody has access to somebody's mind until you drag it. But in the beginning stages, when everybody is a novice, you see things for yourself. You don't get disturbed, you don't disturb somebody. Very clearly you see for yourself. That is why this conscious contemplation, sitting down with yourself. And especially on the matters of self and the Ishvara, you have to be so conscious, because that is the subject. You can understand physics, chemistry, mathematics without being conscious of yourself. That's a subject. You don't have to be Brahman the Absolute to know physics, chemistry, mathematics. Just use your mind. A little conscious, unconsciously conscious also will help you. But the role shall overtake. And that is the time you feel overwhelmed in life. That time you come back to look for yourself. And when you are looking for yourself, please see. Bhagavan says the last verses. Read that, I'll tell you. What he says and how we live. Read this first, last one. Verse number 55, please. Mat karma krut mat paramaha madhvakta sangha varjitaha nirvaira sarva bhuteshu Yasya mameti pandava matkarma krut matparamaha madbhakta sangavarjitah nirvaira sarvabhuteshu yasya mameti pandava. It's not only the last verse of the 11th chapter, but the theme flows into the 12th chapter. It was the beginning of the 12th chapter. And how does somebody live this life? When you appreciate yourself, appreciate God. But this appreciation, listen carefully, this appreciation is extremely important. What important? I mean, that is the fundamental, first thing to be done in life. Why many people cannot appreciate? Think, friends, why people cannot appreciate? It's all because listen to this. In any type of inquiry, think, friends, please see it. In any type of inquiry, do you inquire and then come to conclusion, or you conclude and then inquire? Ask a simple question to yourself. Do you conclude, already arrive at a conclusion, then inquire, or first you inquire and then you conclude? Of course, we must inquire and then conclude. About the God, we have so many conclusions. Have you ever inquired? Are you getting that? About yourself, already concluded. Have you inquired? These 2 points. Did you inquire and conclude that you are the body? Or you have already concluded you are the body and then walking around it? Are you getting that point, please? What are you doing? It's like you already conclude that fellow is a rascal. Then inquire around it. Now what is the need of inquiry? Are you getting that? Please. You already inquire, already you conclude that this person is stupid. Then you inquire around it. Around for what? Then even you inquire, what shall you inquire? You will always try to look for those things which will confirm your conclusion. You understand the perversion of it, the sickness of it? Already you decided that fellow is a rascal. That fellow is a rogue. Then you look. What do you see? It's like one day, a very simple story in a story. An oyster. You know oyster? Oyster is like mother of pearl. Mother of pearl, oyster. The pearl hunters, the divers, they go under the sea and then pick up these oysters. In which there will be pearls, usually. So one oyster was walking, just rolling on the surface, and he saw it's a big pearl. And he was very happy. Appa, this is nice. Then he knew, these people are diving only for the pearl. So I am going to be here near the little rock. So if I can leave this pearl near in the entrance of this place, the divers will come, the diver will come, pick up the pearl and go, leave me alone, because he got the pearl. So what he did? He put the pearl right in the entrance near the stone and went inside, hiding behind the crevices. The diver comes. He goes straight for the oyster. And the pearl goes into the crevices. Why? The diver will not know that this pearl is waiting for me. He knows I must catch the oyster and then collect the pearl. It's already concluded. He is already looking like that. So what is the question of looking for an open pearl? Already concluded. Think. Our life is like that, full of conclusions. One day a person was going in a bus. As he is driving, going in the bus, he saw that is another person looking like a hippie, sort of unkempt, all these things, whatever, and has got only one shoe. In one leg, he has just one foot and one shoe only. So funny. So this man said, "Did you lose your shoes?" He says, "No, I found one." See, when you see somebody is without a shoe, what is our conclusion? Our conclusion is he has lost one. But that fellow is funny. He found one and he kept that one. What is your conclusion? Are you getting that point, please? Obvious things we miss. Why? Already our mind has already concluded. A person had a dog. And the person, he took him, purchased a new dog, and then he trained him for the hunting. And when he went for duck hunting, he shot one dog. This dog walks on the water and picks up the dog and comes back. Walks. Doesn't swim, They walks on the water, picks up the dog and comes back. This fellow is stunned. Am I really believing? Did he walk or swim? Okay, another dog. Another dog he killed. Again the dog walks. He is too stunned to talk about it. How does it happen? Then maybe am I going crazy? So called his neighbor next day for the hunting. And both of them went there and the hunting. Again the fellows walked on and pick up. So now this man could not contain himself. He asked this neighbor to whom he had taken for hunting, "Do you see anything strange?" He said, "What is strange?" "Did you observe the dog?" He said, "Yes. This fellow is stupid, doesn't know swimming." Just think of it. Because we already conclude that this is how dogs should behave. See, even if you see things, you don't recognize. Why? Mind is full of conclusion. This is the biggest mistake we commit in life. Concluding before inquiring. Concluding about myself before I inquire about myself, who I am. But I have already concluded, I am the body, I am the mind. Then get into trouble, then you start inquiry. Are you kidding? This is why the teaching is so important. You don't help people to conclude, you help people to inquire. Do you understand what I am talking? You don't help people to conclude, you help people to inquire and let them discover. And a person who knows, listen carefully, person who knows, he gives you the highest dimension. Because somebody can give you little better, little better, little better, but until the last. About yourself there can be so many ideas. Which is the truth? I, the absolute. There are many relative ideas, one better than the other. As an uneducated person, listen, as an uneducated person, I have an idea that I am ordinary, dying. The school you go to, oh, you are educated, that's a better identity. You go to college, little better identity. Go to university, little better identity. Pick up a job, oof, strong identity. Become very rich, successful, very big identity. Top position, very big identity. Professionally you become very big. Personal life shattering, begins your conflict. When begins your conflict, then you start inquiring, was it worth this studying? Because it condemns me to an identity. So that is your self-awareness. It helps you to go beyond it as to who you are. Not a relative role, but the absolute. So inquire and conclude. Don't conclude and start inquiring. It's just like a kangaroo court. In a military dictatorship, they already decide you are guilty. Then put up a facade of a court and a judgment. What happens to you? Suffering in life comes from that. You already conclude that the person has committed the theft. And then you see everything around it. God. You have already concluded in some place, or some people know God. Then you want to find a logic around it. It doesn't bless anybody. Please understand. To speak this language, mat krut, mat karma krut, mat paramaha, mat bhakta, sangavarjita, nirvaira sarvabhuteshu, yasamameti pandava, he pandava. One who mat karma krut does everything for me. Mat paramaha, I am the Supreme. For whom? I am the Supreme. Remember that language. When Bhagavan says, I am the Supreme, you must know, I in you is supreme for you. Don't miss out on that. When Krishna says, the teacher says, I am the Supreme, don't say teacher is supreme, God is supreme. I in you is the supremost existence. Do you comprehend? Do you appreciate that? That is why it begins with self-awareness, understanding yourself. Or else you shall say, God is great, what can I do about it? Like cynicism. Non-believers. God is great, what can I do about it? Hey, when he says, I am the Supreme, it starts with you. Start with yourself. That is why long before you go into God, first know about yourself. And concluding about yourself, what are you inquiring? You have already decided, I am miserable. Now even if somebody says, you are the happiness, will you take it? Think. Just think. You have already decided, you are miserable. I am mortal, I am dying, I am limited. And when already it has gone into your head, full conclusion, you have already concluded, where is the openness for inquiry? That is why a conflicting state is better than a concluding state. A conflict in the beginning stages, a conflict is more healthy than false conclusion, wrong conclusion. In the wrong conclusion, you stop inquiry. Am I miserable or I am happy? You are still wonderful. Am I limited or limitless? You are still wonderful. But if you have already concluded, I am miserable, I am mortal, I am limited. And then philosophy to back it also. You are mortal, man is mortal, you are separate from God. You begin with assumptions. And whatever assumption, which is self-evident, is it necessary for me to go to a teacher and a guru or a scripture and tradition to tell me I am separate from everything? Duality is self-evident. That we separate from each other, alienated from each other is something self-evident. If at all the scripture should say something, teacher should say something, what should it say? Oneness of it. not the separation. So if you conclude already that you are miserable, how do you inquire? You conclude about somebody, that person doesn't believe me, or that person is a crook. Already concluded. Whatever the person does, you will think he is trying to cheat you, hoodwink you. A person, a lady was walking down, it's an incident somebody reported in a paper. She was going in a bus in some European country. They are going in a bus. Suddenly this lady was a little elderly person and became very curious about the person who was sitting by his side. He said, are you a Jewish? Are you a Jew? Are you a Jew? Jewish? He said, no. Then he said, after some time again she looked back and said, are you sure you are not Jewish? He said, most certainly not. I am not. Then again she says, I think you are Jewish. This man got fed up. He said, okay, all right, I am Jewish. So what? But you don't look like that. This is madness. You understand? This is madness. You already conclude, then you want to walk around it. You know why people suffer? You go to a shop, then you know this fellow is cheating everybody. Will you purchase from there? Appreciate. About you, and it all begins with yourself. Have you concluded about yourself? Who are you? I am the body. Already concluded. I am mortal. I am miserable. Unhappy. Then what are you inquiring? What are you inquiring? Please. God is not existing. God is not there. What are you inquiring? So difficult to drop these pre-gone conclusions. Understand? Ideas that have taken a shelter in your head, it's so difficult to drop it. That is why people do not get this knowledge. Not that this knowledge is difficult, but the conclusions in the head are so strong. Like a student goes to a teacher one day, and student goes to the teacher, the devil is waiting on the sideline to mislead him, because the devil doesn't like, the story, the devil doesn't like anybody going in the right path. So as he goes there, he wants to tempt him. When the position, power, money, lust, sex, every type of things you want to tempt him with, so that the fellow gets distracted. And then, but this man was very determined. He doesn't want to listen to any of his suggestions. Then he goes and sit down by this. Then he goes to the teacher. And he sees the teacher is sitting down in a high throne-like thing places, in a very good place. Now this person decides, oh, this person is sitting on a really luxurious place, right? And then the students are surrounded. Oh, whatever this fellow says, these ones are lapping it up. Sycophants are around. So, if suppose I am the only one who is going to oppose him, why? And if I opposed, I will not be accepted, because I am not a flatterer. And he talks too loud and too sort of frivolously, I think this fellow is a rascal. And he walks out. The devil was sitting in the corner. The teacher talks to the devil. You don't have to spoil him. He is already spoiled. Why? Because the person, it is so difficult to drop your conclusions. You don't need a devil to come and tempt you. Full of conclusions. How the other person is. How the other person will behave. Both way. Some people are permanent non-believers. Some people very credulous. Both are useless. Either you have to believe somebody, nor you have to disbelieve somebody. Open mind until you listen and conclude. Are you getting that part? Both way. You are traveling in the train. Some people are so credulous. Take a tea, take a little biscuit, you take it, you are out. And your things are taken. Another person, nothing doing. Keep the mind open. See what type of circumstances, who is the person. Because every person who is offering you something is not trying to loot you. Or every person who is offering you something is not trying to help you. That is where comes your confidence with yourself. When you are driving your car, somebody can overtake in the right direction, somebody can take you over to the left side. They are going in their speed. They are not trying to inconvenience you. So by chance somebody cuts you on the left, don't suddenly get angry. He is trying to inconvenience. He is not. Maybe the fellow is in a hurry. How do you know? Let him go. But what is your reaction? Why these fellows are against so much of speed? How do you know under what circumstances he is? You keep your things. Oh, this person is going so slow, only 60 kilometers speed. So difficult. Maybe he doesn't know how to drive. Please understand, same thing whole life. As even about people, so also about yourself. Who are you? If you have already concluded, you shall not learn anything. So the understanding of the God, the totality, begins with understanding of yourself as to who are you. When you start understanding about yourself, then there is every so-called conclusion is questioned. That is why, can you question your conclusions? Sit down. Look at your belief system. Look at your conclusions. All that you have decided as right, and question it. When your belief is questioned, don't feel threatened. If you feel threatened, you better challenge the belief. Are you getting that? If you feel threatened, you better challenge the belief. Because it doesn't stand the inquiry. Because you cannot hold on to something for your security. If you hold on to something as your security, please appreciate. Please appreciate. If anything you hold on to as your security, that shall be the cause of your insecurity. If a person is your security, that person is your insecurity. Money is your security, money is your insecurity. Idea is your insecurity, idea is your insecurity. If faith is your security, faith is your insecurity. If you are your security, you can never be insecure. Why? I am who I am. Finished. Absolute security. And such a person, once you are aware of yourself, then what happens? It becomes easier to grasp that no more what I have is who I am. No more what I have is who I am. What I have forms the part of the totality. That is where Ishvara comes in. When I say I, from consciousness standpoint, all-pervasive. From the body standpoint, here. When Ishvara says I, it echoes throughout the universe, like a president of a country. When president says I, the whole country echoes with it. When a citizen says I, only one individual. Next person also is not included. As I told yesterday, remember that. Thus, between Jiva and Ishvara, Jivatma, Paramatma, that is a fundamental relationship. Your primary relationship is with Ishvara. With human beings and other things, it's a secondary relationship. In ignorance, for average individual, the secondary relationship has become primary. That is why when the secondary relationship gets snatched, disturbed, broken, then the person looks for the primary relationship. But if you stay with the primary relationship, every secondary relationship is a lovely pastime. It is like you are enjoying the journey, and during the travel, you are coming across some co-passengers. The journey is beautiful. Passengers, co-passengers shall always drop out. There is no permanent co-passenger. They shall drop out. No choice. Even if you are a person, you are married, live together, just think of it. As time passes, you become one individual. Everything breaks up. The same relationship doesn't last forever. It goes away. Because at one time, you have to get out of this body itself. What is the question of extension of a relationship in relation to a body? So the journey is beautiful because you are the happiness itself. But the passengers go on dropping. Understand? At one time, your own body shall drop. So primary relationship remains as a primary. When you have that primary relationship as primary, that time this is easier. Mat karma krut, everything you do for His sake, God's grace. Karmanyeva adhikarame, a full privilege over my action. Result, I don't know. Who? Ishvara. Mat paramaha, He is the Supreme. No more you are looking, no more you are acting, looking for happiness, looking for comfort, looking for security. I'm secured, acting. I'm happy, acting. I'm fulfilled, acting. Why? Nothing else to do. That is what, like maya kartavyam iti buddhya, as Krishna says, partha nasti me kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana vaptam vaptavyam vartaiva cha karmani. Hey Arjuna, I have nothing to achieve in these three worlds. Nana vaptam vaptavyam. There is no such thing which I have not yet gained, which is to be gained. Why? Being happy with yourself, everything is as well gained. Everybody is trying to achieve something in order to be happy and fulfilled. When you are happy and fulfilled with yourself, you have as well achieved everything. Such a restful soul. You are one with yourself, absolute. And thereafter, your activities begins from out of that sense of fulfillment. Something to be done. I have to keep myself alive, body is active. That is why you do not feel restricted at any time. Why are you walking? Happy, doing some walking. No, you can't walk here. Thank you, go this way. Why are you singing? I'm happy, they will sing. No, you can't sing. Okay. If you sing inside, can anybody stop? Huh? If I, are you getting that point? If I start, then somebody can say, huh? That is why nobody can put a restriction on your happiness. They can put a restriction on your smile. Somebody can put a restriction on your smile. Don't smile. Don't show a frowning face. Don't smile. Now what do you do? Okay. You're like Sphinx. All right. But inside you are laughing, joking, doing everything. How does the other fellow know? Can anybody stop you from thinking? Can anybody stop you from being with yourself? Come on. Who can restrict your thought? You understand the absolute freedom. But people think freedom is physical freedom. It's such a mistake. Even the constitutions, what do they say? We grant people freedom. That is why the teachers who grant you freedom, they destroy you. Because in the name of a teacher, in the name of a scripture, in the name of a philosophy, you think you can do anything you like. The teacher gone, scripture gone, something over, you are not finished. Why? Can there be a constitutional declaration? From now on, everybody shall be happy? What is this? Because you think you are giving freedom. What is that freedom? Freedom of speech. Listen carefully. Everywhere all the constitution deals with freedom of speech, freedom of movement. No, don't do that. Freedom of speech, freedom of movement is only for animals, not for human beings. Listen carefully, listen carefully. Freedom of speech is only for animals. Now Shiva is lying down here. Suppose somebody comes, oh, it will bark. Freedom of speech. He wants to go anywhere, do anything, no problem. Freedom of speech, freedom of action. Anything he can do anywhere. Human being cannot have freedom of speech. Human being should have freedom over speech. Freedom over speech is to speak or not to speak. Not freedom of action. I do whatever I want to do. That's not freedom. That is bondage. The society where hippie society or people who are just want to, in the name of a religion, we are free to do whatever you like. That is your freedom or your bondage. Because if you are not allowed to act freely, you are affected. So what type of freedom is that? Free means not only to act, but also not to act. Are you getting that? I'm free to smoke means what? You are free not to smoke. If you are free, you may smoke. You need not smoke. But I'm asserting my freedom only by smoking, but never by not smoking. I'm free, I can hug anybody. Oh, what about not hugging anybody and still staying? That is difficult. Then are you free or bound? I'm free to eat whatever I like. Fast for 3 days. That's not, that you are infringing on my freedom. That's not freedom, you are bound by your freedom. Understand? I'm free to speak. What about keeping quiet for 20 days? 3 weeks? 1 month don't talk. Then we shall see whether you are free to talk or talking drives you crazy. If not talking drives you crazy, you are not a free person to talk. Deny, then only you shall rule. In a Indian, especially South Indian marriage tradition, before the marriage, the boy will go Kashi Yatra. Kashi means just before all the marriage is solemnized, the boy will put umbrella and one dhoti and walk to the north to go to Kashi. Then the uncle of the girl will call him back. Come, we know your vairagya or whatever dispassion, come back, get married, take this girl and marry. All right. By chance you are going and nobody calling you, what will happen? Suppose you have started the Kashi Yatra and nobody calls you back. You will be waiting for somebody to call you. But suppose they don't call, what will happen? More than 5 minutes, you will be looking back. Whatever. It's a symbol. Means what? One who can deny can be indulgent. If you look at Shiva's icon, it's ultimate though. Sometimes you'll see that. Erotic, ascetic. Shiva's icon is ultimate. Because he's an ascetic, he can be erotic. Eroticism doesn't come without asceticism. If you cannot deny, you cannot indulge. Because there will be a fear of loss. If you are indulging without the capacity to deny, you shall be afraid of losing the indulgence. That is why the so-called thinking, there are many gurus. What is that? Oh, you can do whatever you like. You want to hug? Oh, hug everybody. Love gurus. You can see these days. New age, New age, everything runs. Everything runs. Hug me, touch me, this me, that me, anything, no problem. And by chance you resist, you have an individuality. How successfully you are killed inside, massacred. Hey, I don't want you to touch me. No, but if you say, don't touch me, so you have an individuality. That's very good. So I have to prove my lack of individuality by hugging you, right? You get lost. Dangerous, absolutely dangerous. Asceticism, if you can live without it, you earn your right to live with it. Thereafter it is your choice to live or not to live. To do or not to do is your choice. Why? You can live without it. Because I am happy with myself, even without the body, live with the body for some time. But suppose body is my security, every day, every moment I'll be frightened. Your body is dying. Wrinkles are coming now. Old age is coming now. Everything is falling out. How do you like it? But when you see yourself, your body in whatever condition, wonderful fellow. Why? My body. Goes, fantastic. A nice company for some time. Now it is going, let it go. Bye-bye. Absolute freedom. Absolute freedom. Understand? Please. So in order to see that, first you start with yourself. When you are yourself, then mat karma krut. Every action is done for the sake of action's sake, no more for happiness sake. That's what mat krut, mat karma krut, mat paramaha. I am the Supreme. Madhvakta always bhajati. Bhajanam se bhaj sevayam. Does everything for my sake. Devotion. That is where the primary relationship is complete. Are you getting that point, please? In the morning, first thing you do when you get up, shall you think of Ishvara in which you are included? Or shall you think of something or somebody where your individuality is invoked? In thinking of Ishvara, your individuality resolves. In thinking of another person, your individuality raises its head. Gold, I am the owner. 1,000-acre land, I am the ranchman. Secretary General, I am the occupant. Body, I am young. Father, I am son. Husband, wife. Relationship. Anything you think, a role is invoked. Ishvara. Included. But suppose Ishvara means, I am separate, he is God, I am devotee. Individuality invoked or resolved. So that faith which brings you an exclusive God can never resolve your problem. Because in the remembrance of that God, in individuality comes up to say, I am a devotee. I am an ordinary man, he is the Supreme. I am an humble person, he is the best. You understand what is happening? The individuality is invoked. Whereas in the recognition of yourself, recognition of God, when you remember it, there is no question of your being, existing as separate from it. So every morning, first have a bath in this Ganges of consciousness. Then walk out into the world. Level up your body, mind, all thoughts and roles of every kind. Sangavarjita madhvakta, sangavarjita, no more attached to anything, dependent on anything. Sangavarjita, free from every dependence, association, attachment. Happy with himself, yet happily relating to everybody. It's like a dress. You put on a dress for an occasion. Occasion is over, dress is taken. You play football, football dress. You go to swimming pool, swimming trunk. You go to office, three-piece suit. When you come back home to sleep, shall you put on three-piece suit and sleep? Office dress? Swimming trunk? Football uniform? No, tonight I am going to sleep with a scuba diving uniform. With an oxygen cylinder and everything. Scuba diver. When you go to sleep, what do? Remove every cloth. Remove all the clothes. Understand? Symbolically, remove all the rolls inside. Then only you can sleep. As long as one roll is hitting your head, that long counting the tiles. Worry. Worry means what? Anxiety means what? One roll has taken over. Everybody asleep, you are awake. One roll takes over. So playing a role in what? Pick up the dress for the occasion. Gone, finish. That is why. You are in front of me, you are there. That person is gone. Another person, another role. Another person, another role. Another situation, another role. You are free, 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 free. All the time free with yourself. And therefore, whatever situation comes, whoever the person comes, gets 100% attention. Why? There is no interference of any kind with yourself. Please see that reality for yourself. So, Ishvara, mat karma krut sangavarjitaha nirvaira sarvabhuteshu. Hey Arjuna, sarvabhuteshu nirvaira. In all the beings, there is no enmity with anybody. There is no nirvaira. Vaira means enmity. Satru bhava, difference. There is no enmity with anybody. Why? Everything is Ishvara. That is why when you have that all-inclusive attitude, you don't hate anything in this universe. Everything is fine. If you are comfortable with an idea, why should I say that is wrong? You continue. I want to be miserable. What's my problem? Be miserable and happy. You know? I don't want to eat that. Don't eat. I want to do this only. Why are you telling me? You just be. What you want, what you don't want is your choice. You be happy with yourself. The person doesn't interfere in anything. Just think of it. Most of the time, this advice, I have already told you, doesn't work because the person who seeks an advice, looks for something that he already concludes. If somebody tells that, that is good advice. The moment somebody says opposite to it, you don't take it. That means what? You have already concluded, looking for a confirmation. What type of advice you can give to such people? Think. That's why being yourself is so important. Nirvaira sarvabhutesu, accepting everybody for who they are. I accept you for who you are, but not necessary to do something with you. Why? Because who you are is like what it is, a scorpion. So accepting means keeping the scorpion in my pocket. I don't want scorpion to be a snake, but let the scorpion be there. A snake is a snake, scorpion is a scorpion, a nice little cat is a cat. So cat can be around, scorpion keep him away. But I don't hate the scorpion. Why? Scorpion is scorpion. Without it, life is incomplete. What the cat will eat if the scorpion is not there? You saw how beautifully, you look at all our trees, how nice. So many puchis nowadays. You see the trees are all eaten up by them, so many puchis. But have you observed the birds? They are having the best time in the world. There are hundreds of them, each one of them coming there and landing on a tree. The crow is pulling out the big on in the little fat worms. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever time it comes. And now again the trees are back to the leaves. How sweet. The nature organizes it. What is it? Ayyo, I don't like this kamlipuchi. You know kamlipuchi? And that one, caterpillar. Horrible looking. Ugh. Right. But then without this caterpillar, how the crows will live? How the other birds will live? The birds need the worms. So the worms must be there. But I have nothing to do with the worms. Same thing. In world also, worms will be there. Birds will be there. People will be there. Somebody likes something, somebody dislikes something. Oh, I believe in only this God. Continue. I don't believe in any God. Wonderful. I believe only in a stone. Hey, do whatever you like. As long as you don't tell me what I should do. Because you are worshipping a stone, I also should worship a stone. What is this? You do. No problem. Did I ask you not to do it? No. Then why are you asking me to do something else? Insecure man is restless about his own loneliness. Because what he is doing, if he doesn't get a confirmation, doubt comes to him. Maybe it is wrong. So if somebody else is there, a partner in the crime, you think it must be right. No. Ask yourself the question. Are you aware of yourself? Are you finding a security in your role? And being with yourself, Ishvara takes over. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu. Everybody is one and the same. Yosamameti Pandava. Hey Arjuna, such a person always comes to me. Comes to me means discovers the oneness with me. So the oneness is already existing. You discover it in yourself. That is why, please, as we started the class, ask yourself the question. Do you observe? Or you are engaged with your thought? If you are engaged with your thought, are you consciously engaging or unconsciously engaging? If you are unconsciously engaging, you cannot stop doing the activity. That is the test. If you are stopped from doing what you are doing, if you are stopped from talking when you are talking, if you feel restless, that means you are unconsciously involved. If you are consciously involved, anytime stop, anytime begin. No problem. You know, elderly people tell the children, don't talk when the parents are talking. Have you not heard that? Elderly people usually advise the children. Baby, talk when other people don't talk. When other people are talking, you should not talk. Wait until the mother finishes or the father finishes. Then child's complaint is, but the father never finishes. The baby is waiting to say something. But the mother never finishes. So you are waiting for somebody to stop, then you can talk. The other fellow, non-stop. Then what do you do? So if somebody asks you, how was the conversation? Conversation or listening? What was the conversation? There is no conversation with the other person. Continuous. And you have to, okay. A psychiatrist was asked, how do you listen to so many people throughout the day and you are still so fresh? He said, who listens? Just ignore, sit down and let the talk fellow, let the fellow talk the rubbish. At the end of the day, you are absolutely fresh. Because if you only get involved with their speech, only you will get worked up. You don't get involved. So what is the question of getting worked up? Chalta hai, theek hai. Oh. happy life. Understand? This is devotion. Being with yourself who you are, and then like an instrument, nimitta matram bhava sampyachaja. Be an instrument in my hand. Okay, with this, 11th chapter comes to an end, and how that now, just like, okay, finish that, we shall say, Om iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vishwarupa Darshana Nama Ekadasodhyaya Tatadvadasodhyaya Arjuna Uvache Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktastvam Pariyupasate Echapyaksharam avyaktam Tesham ke yoga vittamaham. Okay, with that we'll start in the afternoon. We'll see that 12th chapter. Just like in the first, you saw in the first chapters, there are 18 chapters in Gita. First 6 chapters talks about individual I. The second 6 chapters, that is 7th to 12th, talks about Ishvara, Tatpada, who God is. First you, then Ishvara. Then the last 6 chapters, Asi, that language, Tat, Tvam, Asi, you are that. First you, 66 chapters. Then Ishvara, the next 6 chapters. Then Asi, identity between Tat and Tvam. Both are one and the same. Iti 13th to 18th. Now, first 6 chapters, you see, in first 5 chapters, the truth was revealed about yourself. And the 6th chapter culminating in meditation, dhyana yoga. Why? What you learn about yourself, establish there. Abide in that reality. Tat kathanam, tat chintanam, annata pradhan, tat buddhaya, tad atmana, tad nishtha, tat parayana, gachanti apunaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmasa. The 6th chapter. Tad buddhaya, tad atmana, tad nishtha parayana. Tad buddhaya, your mind, intelligence dwells on it, your discrimination. Tad atmana, that indeed is myself. Tad nishtha, abiding in it. Tad parayana, that is the supreme good. Such people, apunaravrittim gatim gachanti. They go to a path where from there is no return in themselves. Meditation. Now the Ishvara was revealed from 7th to 11th, ending up in Vishwarupa Darshan. 12th chapter now begins the natural expression of this appreciation, bhakti, devotion. So 12th chapter is known as Bhakti Yoga. Just like Dhyana Yoga, you Nirguna Brahma, understand yourself who you are, Dhyana. Understand Ishvara what it is, Bhakti. So Dhyana, Bhakti, Jnana, all are one and the same. We shall see in the afternoon. Okay? So see that attitude. How happy you see this, how your life becomes, with what attitude you live. It becomes spontaneous. If you understand, you find only an echo of your in these verses. Understand? Verses do not create reality. They only reflect. Because of the word mango, the fruit doesn't exist. Because the fruit exists, word talks about it. Descriptions are reflections of something. Don't take the description itself as real. Emotions are reflections of the wisdom. If you hold on to emotions without going to the source, it is like holding on to the word and forgetting the mango. Your whole emotion comes from the absolute. We'll talk about it. Okay? Close your eyes, please.